Ever heard of pickleball? No, it isn't a pickle dish. This new hybrid sport is catching on like wildfire. Head over to a court or park and you'll hear the sound of the ball against the paddle, as people of all ages love this game. In fact, it's getting so popular that some wonder if pickleball will make tennis go extinct. Is pickleball here to take over tennis? Why is it so popular all of a sudden? Let's find out. First of all, how did the sport come about? Well, believe it or not, pickleball was invented by three lazy dads who wanted to create an easy game for the whole family to play. It began in the summer of 1965 in Washington State. Bored, the families picked up some table tennis paddles they could find and played a mix of tennis and ping pong. They also named the game after one of their dogs, Pickles. And so, pickleball was born, a lazier version of tennis for the less athletic. Fast forward 60 years, and now it's the fastest growing sport in the United States. Fun fact, it's also now the official sport of Washington, its birthplace. Next, how do we play this interesting game? So, simply put, it's a hybrid sport of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. You play it with rectangular paddles instead of rackets, the size of table tennis paddles, and the ball itself has holes in it. Just like tennis, you can play it one-on-one or even in duo matches. Now, the sport might have started out with makeshift table tennis rackets, but companies like Yola are cashing in on the mania by designing paddles especially for the game. But do we really need pickleball? Tennis can be exhausting on the average body and requires much more stamina and training. Have you had to sit out tennis matches because of back pain, or have you tired out too quickly? If yes, pickleball is the sport for you. It's the lighter paddles and lower height of the ball that first made it a hit at retirement houses. In fact, most people pick up the sport to train themselves for its more formidable counterpart, tennis. But the game's so addicting that many end up sticking with it and ditching tennis. If you think this is an old people's sport, think again. The game is played like fast-paced volleys, like a cross between ping pong and badminton. So it always keeps you on your feet, and still, it's easier to learn. It's not a lot about mobility and running across big courts. There's more finesse, keeping up with your opponent, and reading their moves. Eric Ho, the co-founder of the NYC Pickleball website, claims the physical accessibility of the sport is why it's catching on. Tennis needs practice, dedication, and skill. If you want to get good at it, you have to put in the hours. With jam-packed schedules, no one's got time for it. Pickleball, on the other hand, is easy to get started. People who have never heard of the sport learn the rules and basic strokes within 10 to 15 minutes and are all set to play. His site has resources for everyone to learn about the game and also find where to play. And that's another thing about this sport, the community. As the game blew up, players started setting up matches on social media, with a boom in pickup groups on WhatsApp and Facebook. Fitness centers even started offering classes. So, all you have to do is step out to your nearest sports center, and you'll definitely make new friends at a pickleball court. Even specialty venues, like Chicken and Pickle, have given the game a new twist. Families and friends can now enjoy the sport with pickled food. When the pandemic hit, this sport was what kept many going. Take Ben Winston, a Seattle resident who started the game in an elementary school parking lot. During lockdowns, Ben and his wife formed a pandemic pod to play the game in the parking lot. Since then, he's battled a former NBA player, a bus driver, and everyone in between. That's what people love about the sport. You can beat a pro badminton player or get your ass kicked by a 70-year-old woman on the court. More and more people are using the sport as an excuse to bond across the generational gap. Pickleball coach Sonny Tannen, who played an active role in promoting the sport, says the best part about it is that it's a social sport. No matter your age, ethnicity, generation, or experience, once you pick up those paddles, you're bound to have a good time. Moving past the social aspect, what else lures people to this sport? Simply put, It's low maintenance. Its courts are smaller, 44 feet by 20 feet, compared to the much larger 78 by 36 feet tennis courts. A full-size tennis court can hold 4 pickleball courts, so it's no surprise pickleball courts are springing up across the country. The smack of paddles and plastic balls grows louder, while tennis courts remain empty. More and more tennis players are defecting to its inventive younger cousin. As the Sports and Fitness Industry Association puts it, nearly 5 million people played the new sport at least once in 2021. As the demand for paddles and nets grows, sports brands are investing in exclusive merch for the game. Next, it's slowly becoming a spectator sport and growing younger. Gone are the days when it was a pastime for lazy old dads. Today, the sport is attracting more youth than ever. In 2022, about 17% of the players were over 65 years, while surprisingly, a third were under 25. Still think it's a boomer hobby? Even sports networks think it's the next big thing. ESPN airs matches, and we also have a pro tour with pro-am tournaments and podcasts to themed restaurants. People can't get enough of the sport. To corporate sponsors, it's a promising cash cow, especially with obsessed fans pushing for it to be part of the Olympics. But all hope isn't lost for tennis lovers. Yes, pickleball may now be taking over tennis courts, but it won't make people love tennis any less. Coaches and players believe that instead of pitting the two against each other, we'll enjoy the different experiences of the game. So what if the new game is easier, fun, and boomer friendly? Just like how every other racket sport exists out there, pickleball is another version that lets players transition between the two. Tennis is still a niche sport and has nothing to lose to the new star sport. Yes, the numbers might show the latter growing popular, but keep in mind tennis participation is also increasing steadily. This sounds much like the skiing versus snowboarding debate. Remember when snowboarding jumped into the mainstream in the 1990s? People thought it would make skiing a thing of the past. Today, we still have 15 million skiers for every 8 million snowboarders. The fact remains that old and loved sports like tennis don't die out easily. In other news, tennis players triumph over pickleball fans in Newport with the recent noise curfew. Turns out the fans of the two sports just can't get along. In Newport, the new game exploded until there weren't enough courts to keep up with the increasing demand. So players resorted to drawing temporary lines and taking over the tennis courts. It wasn't just the space that led to the complaints, but the noise too. In the city council meeting, Hunter Park described it as being in a locker room. The paddle players ignored restricted hours and overcrowded the courts. Nearby residents complained about the noise unique to the game, both from the volleying and the rowdy reactions. And so, the city council has adopted a new ordinance to limit operating hours for pickleball courts further. Tennis was safe from these new restrictions, and now players can enjoy their court space in peace. But pickleball fans called this move unfair, claiming both sports have noises. Moving on to good news. Pickleball helped fundraise for the UHC men's tennis team. There's more than just bad blood between the two sports. The first Pickleball Warrior Cup was hosted at the University of Hawaii to support the UHC men's tennis team. The 3-day event attracted throngs of fans for women's doubles, men's doubles, and mixed doubles. Players were from 18 to 60 plus years old, with 5 skill levels. This event let the two communities put their differences aside and support each other in a fun, competitive way. Maybe the popularity of the new sport can help its older cousin after all. And lastly, tennis pro Carnivos found her new crush in pickleball. Retired teacher and one of the best women's doubles tennis players in East Greenbush, Carnivos has a newfound love for pickleball. She claims there's much to like about the new sport. It's competitive and yet engaging for all ages and skill levels. When she retired in 2016, Carnivos couldn't find a tennis player at her level to hang out with on the court. Then she picked up a paddle and was hooked. But she still hasn't given up her first love. These days, she plays in the USTA League in the 55 over doubles. Just last year, she helped restart the Pro League and brought the players of the arena into a team. Now, with her interest injuries, she doesn't feel strong enough to play pro league regularly. Playing with 20-year-old college players is too embarrassing now for the tennis ace. When she isn't stressing over league teams, Carnivos heads over to the tennis court, shifts the net down a little, and winds down by playing pickleball with her older friends. And that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.